All right. I'm going to share the screen, ladies. Okay. I won't be making it full screen because, last time when I made it full screen, there was some issues that were happening. So this is going to be like, is this visible to everybody? Yes? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay, let me begin. We have many people who are new here. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Evelet Sequeira, and I'm the founder of this academy, which I call the Sacred Lotus Womb Academy. It's a big name, but it just means that we are women who are connected to our wombs. And my mission and vision is for every woman to live her fullest life, to maximize her potential in whatever ways it shows up for her. This is not about making big plans and having major big goals. It can be that as well, but truly tuning in to our bodies, to work with our bodies, to work with the energy that we hold, and how we can use that existing energy to surge forth into the world, find out what is it that we are here to do, find out what is it that we truly believe in, and then to serve the world in the best ways. Serve where it is mutually beneficial. So it's not going to be like you're serving, and you become empty. It has to be mutually beneficial. So there has to be the space of receiving as well. Yes. So thank you for joining. And I started these webinar series last Sunday onwards. And I realized that most of the topics, most of these topics are taught by male teachers, and usually the feminine or the female aspects are left out. And somehow I want to bring in a blend of these potent techniques and topics, but also bringing in the view from a woman's point of view and how we are affected as women with this knowledge. So stay tuned and keep joining in. Most probably I want to do this every week, but because we are women, we have so many other things to do as well. There might be some weeks where we won't be having the sessions. And yes, we have a group which I will open up after the session on WhatsApp, and we can have our discussions there. All right. So today's topic is, what is the subconscious mind? What we're going to discuss. What is the conscious mind? There is something known as the personal unconscious. There is something called as the collective unconscious. And the collective is associated with fairy tales and myths and mythology. We're going to talk about it. And how do we connect and activate our subconscious mind? And we're going to do a story time today. There is going to be one story, and I'm sure many of you know the story. But every time I do this story, even in the open workshops, I've seen that different elements and different layers of the story come out for each one of us. So let's see what the story is going to bring us today. And the daily lives of ours, especially being a woman. I've given these examples of maybe having abusive or coming from a dysfunctional home or any form of trauma, and how these have an effect on our subconscious mind and how they continue to run our life without us even knowing. Yeah, and most of the women on the group right now, I know you are women who are doing your personal transformation journey using different modalities, and you're committed to being the fullest of who you are. So thank you for doing that. All right, so I'm going to show you pictures of these really old uncles, okay? But he's a little handsome, this fellow. And I'm going to be like this, little funny. So the term unconscious was first coined by this philosopher, Friedrich Schelling, so late 18th century, and was later translated to English by the poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Now, it's always good for us to have a history of, where did this whole stuff about the conscious and the unconscious mind come from? So this is one of the writings, or one of the quotes of this philosopher Friedrich Schelling. God then has no beginning, and only insofar as there is no beginning, of his beginning. The beginning in God is eternal beginning. That is such a one as was beginning from all eternity and still is, and also never ceases to be the beginning. Oh my God, what is this? This looks like a pot of noodles, and I can't make out what is the beginning and what is the end. But he was a very deep philosopher, and he worked with this whole concept uh, of God or source or universe, and that is what we know. This is from where everything emerges, everything is created. So there is no beginning and there will be no end. So it's a beginning and a beginning and a beginning. And I wanted to start the session with this because most of us feel, at some points in our life, we feel, oh my God, this is the end. Oh, I don't know what to do with my life. Hello, remember, this is the beginning. Yeah. Like I said last time, when you climb one mountain and when you're at the peak, that is just the bottom of the next mountain that you have to climb. Okay, so let's climb together, ladies, and have fun on the way. Then we have this second gentleman, very, very intelligent, Sigmund Freud. Many of you know, if you've studied philosophy or psychology, you know this fellow. Now, if you look at the picture here, he gave this metaphor about the mind. That is the metaphor of the iceberg. We've seen it a lot. And what he would call it is that mind has three parts. The first part, which is the part of the iceberg, which is just 1/3, which you see above, floating above water, is the conscious mind. The pre-conscious is just below the water line, okay? And way below is the unconscious mind. I'm just giving you the history. We will go deeper into all of these parts. And then we have Carl Jung, okay? Now, Carl Jung was a student of, or a companion of Sigmund Freud. But Carl Jung, many a times we see this, that the students get better than their teachers because, they follow a path and there's nothing right or wrong in that. They just go deeper into the subject. And somewhere Carl Jung went deeper to what Sigmund Freud had already found. And then when he went deeper, now he separated and he gave deeper definitions to these three parts of the mind. The first part of the mind is the conscious mind. Okay, now when we say conscious, it is what we are in this waking state. Whatever you are aware of in your surroundings, that you are aware of with your five senses, that which you're aware of, like, what am I thinking right now? Am I thinking, oh my God, do I need to cook my meal for this afternoon? Or do I need to go out and run some errands? Whatever thoughts you have in your mind, that is in this conscious waking state is the conscious mind. Then Carl Jung, and I specifically like Carl Jung because he simplifies it further for us, is the part what is known as the personal unconscious. So if you see below the iceberg, just that level is the personal unconscious. Now, what is this according to him? He says these are mostly emotion-laden themes from a person's life. Now, the emotions can come from the childhood, which could be memories from childhood of growing up in your childhood home, memories of being with your parents or caregivers, or even your experiences in school, or maybe even as a young adolescent, the first memories of having fallen in love, having got your first job. Most of these things, or most of these memories, they lurk in this space. So if you look at this, picture here, maybe I'll make it a little bigger for you to see more clearly. So if you see the conscious part, this is Mr. A and Miss B. So the conscious part is, is the gray portion, and the personal unconscious is separate for both Mr. A and Mr. B. So because both have very peculiar, they come from different households, so their personal unconscious will be very different, okay? And mainly the personal unconscious holds painful, repressed, and forgotten memories from one's past. Now, many of us will wonder that, is it going to be the same? What if there are two siblings, in the same house and it's a dysfunctional home? Now, sometimes it has been seen that the personal unconscious between the two siblings also can be different. Now, how is this different? It depends on the perception of each individual. So if, suppose there is a brother and a sister living in one house, and the mother has been beating up the boy and has been, spanking the girl as well. But the girl may perceive, I'm giving a very arbitrary example, she may perceive the beating as, oh, I am unlovable, and I'm not loved, and I'm a burden on my parents. So she's perceived the beating that she's receiving from her mother as, I'm a burden on my parents, or I'm a burden to my mother. I always do wrong. And when the mother beats the boy, maybe the boy perceives it as, I'm very clumsy, I always make mistakes. So what is important here is, what is the belief that is held while undergoing a particular form of trauma? And it is this belief, as soon as you get to the root of this belief, it is not finding out who did what to you. It is about what you believed about that situation or event when it happened to you. And it is that belief which is running your life. It's not that event or that person. Okay, so we'll decipher it even further. Then comes that bigger chunk, that unconscious mind, which is below. Now, what Carl Jung says, he says this collective unconscious is like the grand universe. It is the same for everybody. Okay, so mystics understood this, and they would talk about it being, we are all one, we are all connected, the power of connection to each other. All these talks that these ancient sages or great teachers would talk about came from this premise that we are all connected to this collective unconscious. It's given different names. In quantum physics, they call it the field, or the matrix. Different words given for the same thing. The point is, we need to understand what is the concept, and then once you know it, you know how you can play with that knowledge. So the collective unconscious are urges, instincts, and memories from our ancestors. So what Carl Jung says is that our personal unconscious may have information maybe from one or two generations of our lineage, maybe up to your parents, your first round of grandparents and great grandparents. But beyond that, if you have never met your grandparents or great grandparents, you really wouldn't have memories to feed your personal unconscious. But your collective unconscious is like a repository of all your entire lineage. So imagine, it's not only your lineage, but it is also the entire time. So when these sages or teachers who have awakened, or who we call as enlightened beings, they talk about everything being one and the moment being now, it means that they have tapped into this space of the collective unconscious. You can go into the collective unconscious, and the collective unconscious also has a way of communicating with us. So how does it communicate? The collective unconscious, according to Carl Jung, communicates with us in the form of symbols. And mostly these symbols come during dream time, or maybe, deep meditation, or in, trance-like states, which could be induced with maybe, plant substances and all of that, different kinds of, hallucinogens. So these symbols, what he did was he studied different cultures, like Native American and then Eastern, like Chinese. And what he found was that the stories and fairy tales that, somebody wrote in Germany, someone wrote in Native America, and someone wrote in China, had similar characters. And they had, a similar storyline. And he felt that there was no way that these people would have exchanged notes, because we never had the World Wide Web then. So how did this happen? So when he kind of went deep into this, he realized that there is a space at which, when we all either drop or we rise, we all are connected deeply and into one. So it's like the vast ocean. So for me, ocean is a metaphor of the deep unconscious. He believed that each person is also born with archetypes. Now, what are archetypes? These are like very standard, what would you say? They're like blueprints across cultures. When we use that particular word, anybody gets to know what is the meaning of that. So, for example, when I say mother, I don't have to explain who is a mother, what does she do. I don't have to give an explanation. When I say mother, you instantly, whether you are an Indian, whether you are Chinese, whether you're from Japan, whether you're from any part of the world, the word mother or ma or whatever, in whatever language we speak, you know instantly who she is or what is her role. So, like this, there are many archetypes that he worked on, and he said these are blueprints. And once we know what is the dominant archetype that is within our being, or we can consciously choose it, or unconsciously we are working with it, then that is the space where our potential is hidden. Okay, I'll talk more about this, but for now, just keep this in your mind. And the way unconscious connects to us is it is very primitive. Okay, it's very raw, or what we would say very wild. It's mythological. There are myths, customs, dreams, rituals through which it's connected to us. One of the rituals, if you see different religions, most of the religions have some form of singing or chanting that they do. Okay, it is across different religions or different faiths. There are also certain rituals which involve the use of water, either dipping in the water or dipping in the river, using water as an element in many forms. Another element which is common or in most faiths is the element of fire. Now, this is something that they didn't learn from each other. It is very innate in them. And that is what is coming from the collective unconscious. All right. Okay, let's go to the next. Sorry. So this person, Mr. Joseph Murphy, he's really well known. So The Power of the Subconscious Mind is the book that he wrote, and he published it in 1963. Now, most of his work, it connects to prayer. Prayer and very consciously directing your mind, your conscious mind, to control or to navigate through the subconscious mind. So his work is mainly using affirmations, working with thought, and he has been, kind of a guide to many other teachers who we know now, like Louise A. Wayne Dyer, all of these. There is also another teacher, his name is Neville Goddard. So many teachers that I came across while just researching on this topic. Now, she is my favorite. This is Dr. Candice Pert. Now, she's a scientist, okay, and she works with peptides and neuropeptides. Now, what she came up with in her research is that the subconscious mind is your body, okay? So everybody talked about the subconscious mind being something out there, but what she brought to the table is that the subconscious mind is your body. So I'm just going to read a few points from her work. She says, your brain is not in charge, okay? It challenges conventional science. And to reconsider, we have to reconsider that our bodies in also think, feel, and heal. Now, when of course, she's separating the brain, but I feel the brain and the body, the brain is in the body. So it is also a part of it. But what maybe she wanted to say was, the mind, as we look at it, is separate from the physical body. Now, her work is around these neuropeptides and receptors. So she says the core idea here is the surface of cells are lined with very specific receptors to which only specific molecules can attach themselves. And these molecules are messengers through which the body and the mind, as well as our neurons, glands, and immune cells, are constantly sharing information. In our last week's webinar, we saw this, that in the brain, we have receptors for serotonin, we have receptors for endorphins, and that is what kind of keeps us. So these are known as the happy chemicals. We have happy with us. So these are the happy hormones or happy chemicals or neuropeptides in our body. Now, Pert's work is mainly what she says is these receptors are present in cells all over the body. So if I'm feeling a particular emotion, I will have a full-bodied experience. But many of us don't feel that because we are disconnected from our body and we are, completely in our mind space and the head zone. What we say is we are disconnected from neck below. We are only in the head and we are thinking, but the whole body is not involved in how we think and feel. So Pert says for decades, most people thought of the brain and its extension as the central nervous system and, like a telephone system with lots and miles of crisscrossing wires. But now when she studied peptides and receptors, she has seen that these are all at every cellular level. And that is the unconscious mind, she says. Now, how does this match with what Carl Jung says? Okay. It matches in the way that whatever we have stored as memories, it is not only stored in the brain, it is stored at a cellular level. So sometimes when we are doing body work, a very old memory, like, maybe you're just touching your body or you're just kind of caressing yourself, and all of a sudden you have this old memory show up. Where is it coming from? It's coming from that cellular memory, which has been, kind of frozen or maybe stuck into a certain place, or it has been put there like a pocket, like a deep freezer or a storeroom. So I really love Candice Pert's work. She has a lovely book. It's called Molecules of Emotion. If you are the nerdy type and you like a lot of science, you can read her book because, yeah. Another point before we go here. So yes. So the central theme of her book is that peptides flood our bodies are in fact molecules of emotion. So what her work shows that whenever we get emotional, these peptides start moving around in the body. And based on the kind of emotion we have, happy, sad, angry, or fearful, full of guilt, they then change the immunology, the psychoimmunology of our body, okay? And that is now all these newer, definitions that we will talk about, like neuroplasticity, epigenetics, neurogenesis, what we studied last time. So these are all emotion modulating peptides that an embarrassing thought can cause blood vessels to dilate and turn a face beet red, So I'm thinking a thought, it's immediately sending messages to my nervous system, and these molecules of emotion are going to those specific spaces and working on a particular bodily reaction to be seen on the outside, So in the same way, these molecules of emotion can also mobilize immune cells to destroy an incipient tumor. So once we know how it functions, we can use it for different activities. Okay, so many of us know, we have seen spontaneous healings in terms, when people have had ailments or any other things, people have, this whole trend that was there of The Secret, which said you can manifest what you want, you just have to put your mind to it. But what we are learning here is, it is not only about blindly writing those affirmations or creating a vision board or doing creative visualization. It is also understanding that this is like a full-bodied process where your entire body is involved along with the mind to bring into fruition what you have visualized. Okay, so techniques like meditation or visualization can act as forces to set these molecules into action. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, now this is a little crazy picture. I'm going to send you the whole presentation on WhatsApp. I'll make a PDF so you can kind of enlarge it over there. I've taken it from one of these sites. They have a particular music and program which they call the EquiSync. But I like the way they had separated all three. So the anatomy of the mind, if you have to look at it, the conscious mind is everything that is in our consciousness. What you are learning, what what you learn, like what you're listening to me now is the conscious mind, whatever you will take in. But there are lots of verbal cues that I'm giving or non-verbal cues that I'm giving, which your subconscious mind is already taking in. Like, for example, if you see my screen, you can see there's an artwork there, which maybe you're not paying attention to, but that has already gone into your subconscious. Okay. So, the subconscious mind is like this sponge. It's taking in everything that's in the space around you. Okay. Things that you can see, things that you can't even see within your zone. So, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are separated by what we call a critical filter. So we want to be in charge. So when I want to be in charge, I will not allow the subconscious mind to take over. I will be in my conscious mind. So for example, if I tell you to, when we are walking, if suppose you're walking in the middle of a busy street and you have to strip naked and stand there, will you do it? The conscious mind will not allow you to do it because it will say, oh my God, because there is so much of memories that are associated with nakedness, or there is information which says, oh, if you're naked, maybe you'll be abused, or you'll be laughed at, or you will feel shame, or you will feel guilt. There's so many things that will come up for you at that point in time. But that is what separates your conscious mind from your subconscious mind. And also, the subconscious mind will also send some information telling the conscious mind that, you know what, boss, last time somebody did this, and they got beaten up, so don't do this, and all of that. So from the conscious mind to get into the subconscious mind, what we need to do is we need to work with the brain waves. And I'll show you that in the slide. And that is exactly what happens when we meditate or when we use certain tools and techniques to dive deeper into these, trance-like states. So the subconscious mind is programmed by thoughts, okay? And we have a genius mind. And it's not only the genius mind, we also have all the kachara also. So all the good, bad, and ugly, everything is there in the subconscious mind. The day you become aware of what's inside and you are open to, observe yourself, you're observing your thoughts, you're becoming aware. Who is this person that I'm getting upset about? Who is this person that I'm fighting with? Who is this, whenever I see this woman, I feel jealous. Or when I see that one putting up, some post and I feel envious. As soon as you start becoming aware of your thoughts, you start going a little deeper and deeper into your subconscious mind. And then you ask yourself that, is it even a valid, is it even a valid thought? And is it even true? So Byron Katie's work about, ask every thought that you're thinking, is it true? It begins with that. Then comes the unconscious mind, what we spoke about, that whole where you're connected to the entire web of life. And that is what we call from where you will have your highest connection to spirit. So this is where people, when they meditate for many years on their spiritual path, or those who have, sudden those Kundalini awakenings or sudden moments of enlightenment, and you go deep into these states. Many a times we can see that, people, when they have very high fever, they go into and they start babbling. You can talk, sometimes you can even talk in tongues or different languages, and you have not learned it consciously in this lifetime, but you have crossed, it's like you have crossed the boundaries into this unconscious world. And now you are, you're kind of picking up that from another space altogether. Okay, it sounds very woo-woo and eerie, but when you do this work, especially hypnotherapists, when they have done work and past life regressionists, they are able to tap into all of that because it's the repository. When we talk about Akashic records, that is also part of the unconscious mind. They're given different names. It's the same thing. All right. Mm. So, what's the difference between the conscious and the unconscious mind? The thinking mind, you can accept or reject any idea. Most people accept the ideas we would reject and reject the ones to accept. And the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So, it's an emotional mind. Subconscious mind works from past memories. Okay, we will do an exercise, and immediately you will know that the subconscious mind is unable to know what is real and what is unreal. So when it is unable to know, now we have to use this knowledge to our advantage. It has to accept what you give it and emotionalize. That is why, teachers, when they teach you some form of affirmation or visualization, they tell you to feel it, emote, like many of us say, oh, I want this wonderful, loving partner in my life. But it's like an affirmation. I want a loving partner in my life. I am happy I have a loving partner in my life. But when you're saying I'm happy, feel happy. Get into the emotion of it. So when emotion is involved, that's when the whole conscious and subconscious mind work together as a team. Otherwise, one of the teachers I was listening to, it's like it's only the conscious mind who is working and the subconscious mind is having a holiday, you know. And this one person is working day and night and working and trying to make some dreams come into reality. But subconscious mind has a very different story going on. So to bring sync into the conscious and the subconscious mind is the work that we need to do. And we will learn how to do it. So this is the guy I really love. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he has written many books, and he talks about beliefs. I spoke about belief in the beginning, that any event can happen to you, but how you have perceived it and what you believe about that person or that event gets stored in your memory. And over the years, belief ke upar belief, you kind of stack those beliefs, and that then becomes a perception. So Dr. Dispenza's formula is very simple. He says, how I think is equal to how I act is equal to how I feel. I feel you can mix and match any of these. So how I feel, sometimes, like for women, it is the other way around. Many of us women actually are more feeling persons. Of course, some of us who are, most of us who have grown up in the cities, we have been, taught to disconnect from our feelings and only be the thinking mind. So this formula can work for us. But if you are the feeling kind also, so how I feel is how I act and how I think, or how I feel is how I think and how I act. So if somebody comes in front of me and just in the presence of that person, I don't feel good. Okay, I feel something, and my body kind of cringes. So I immediately think, oh my God, this feels like a predator. How do I act? Maybe I run away from that spot. Or I feel this is a predator, and now I have to fight with this person. So sometimes the feelings can fool you, because is it true that this person is a predator? So you have to take some time, like a pause. Everyone talks about the pause between what you feel, how you think, and how you act. And even the other way around. As soon as you think, what is the feeling in the body and where is your action happening? Settling the body down and overcoming resistance. So all the teachers who talk about the subconscious mind or the power of the mind, they speak about relaxation and relaxation techniques. As soon as you relax, you can drop from the conscious mind into the subconscious mind. You relax further, you drop from the subconscious into the unconscious. Many a times we have to sit with the discomfort. We don't want to sit with the discomfort. And when we learn mindfulness techniques, you sit with the pain it comes and it has to pass. You know that statement that Buddha says, this too shall pass. We say that statement, we'll put the quote everywhere, but we don't know what it really means in terms of our body. Okay. All right, I'll just send this to you later, so I don't want to go too much into this. This is about dream state. Now, brain waves, again, to do with the body, and this is again science. While we are awake, if we measure the electrical impulses in our brain, we will find what is known as beta waves. Okay, this is your normal alert consciousness. All of us are in beta wave, unless some of you are feeling sleepy because it's early morning. So it's 14 to 30 hertz. Then we have the alpha state. Alpha state is just that drowsy state. Okay, it is the state when you're just waking up and the state when you are just about to fall asleep. You know, you sit and you go like, just, kind of feeling drowsy. And there the brain wave hertz are 9 to 13 hertz. Then comes the theta state, which is again reduced consciousness, which is 4 to 8 hertz. Deep sleep, you can go into dream time, deep meditation. These are theta waves. After that comes delta waves, which is even below 4 hertz. Okay. And this is dreamless sleep. And there is even loss of bodily awareness. So I don't know if any of you, I'm sure many of you have had this, especially when you do deep meditative techniques. At some point, you stop sensing your body. You are just, you're just one with everything. Maybe you're like particles or what. You just don't sense your body. And that is when your brain waves are in delta state. Now, delta and theta are the two states where, especially theta is the state where you can access your subconscious mind. And delta is where you can actually access your unconscious mind, the deepest part of it. Okay. Now, to reach delta states, many of these, sages and all these guys, they would, guys and women as well, they would take hallucinogens or mind altering substances. I would not suggest that you try all of these, but they would do this because innately every human wants a deeper connection with spirit. So to connect to that everlasting spirit, they would use some form of spirit, maybe either alcohol or some other hallucinogen and plant medicines to reach that state. Okay. So please do it knowing and taking full responsibility of what you are getting into. So interesting facts, it records everything. It's alert and awake, the subconscious mind. And the best part, it controls 95% of our life. So Carl Jung says, if you do not make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life and you will call it fate. I've had many clients who say, I've never had a good love life. I've always had boyfriends who come, who leave me and they go away. Or I've always had this problem. So these are patterns. And that is because you have not been able to work with your subconscious. And it's the same old movie that is playing again and again and again. You want to change your life. You want something new in your life. We have to change the script, not only the script on the outside, but also what you are telling yourself on the inside. It speaks to you in dreams. Yeah, so dream time is very beautiful. I love dream time. It has no verbal language. It speaks in symbols. It speaks in, non-verbal cues. It takes everything literally. So whatever you tell the subconscious mind, it believes. It can do a trillion things at once. It's not logical. It's a failing mind. And it is 1 million times powerful than the conscious mind. So how do you activate the subconscious mind? These are just few pointers. One is setting and repeating positive self-affirmations. We'll do a session maybe next week to go deeper into these topics. Visualizing your goals. So many of us just write goals, maybe on a whiteboard, but visualize it. Just take some time and just imagine what it would look like. So if I'm saying, I'm going on a holiday to a place where there's a beach. So maybe I'm going to go on a holiday. So visualize the beach, visualize the coconut trees, visualize the waves, and how you are feeling in that moment, full of joy and happiness. And, so visualize the goal. That makes it more real for the subconscious mind to bring it into reality. Maintain a dream diary. It's very important. This point especially is important for us as women, because innately we are intuitive beings. We have been gifted, like last time I mentioned, as women, we have been gifted with a higher sense of intuition as compared to men. Okay, it's a gift. So maintaining a dream diary is very important, and especially the dreams that you get, during your dark cycle. That is your time 7 days before your periods and 7 days during the periods. Okay, while the periods are on, because it is said that while a woman is on her period, the veil between the conscious and the subconscious is very thin, and dreams at that time are very they're visionary dreams. So whatever comes in, make note of them, small points, write them, keep a dream diary. You don't have to do it every day, but especially in these parts of your cycle, if you maintain the dreams, they can bring you lots of information from inside. Write down your thoughts if you have the time for it. Meditate regularly, okay? And listen to your intuition or your gut, okay? So it's story time. I'm going to tell you a short story now. And we will take questions at the end of this. Okay, or do you want to take questions first and do the story a little later, because we're already at 10:45. I want to finish this on time. Can anyone unmute themselves and just let me know what you want to do?
Evelet, there are questions posted in the chat.
Okay. There are questions already posted in the chat?
Yeah, there are quite a few questions posted in the chat. You
okay,
want me to just go through them?
Yeah, so I think I'll go through that. So Anu has asked, are these in medical terms then genes? I'm referring to the collective unconscious. No, not the collective unconscious is not genes. Genes, again, can be a part of the subconscious. Okay, so if you saw the first slide that I showed was the conscious mind, the personal unconscious, or the subconscious mind, and then the unconscious, collective unconscious. Collective unconscious is to do with anything and everything. So, especially creators. Suppose these guys who are doing movies or, who write songs, they are the ones who tap deep into the unconscious. It's like a big pool. It's like the vast ocean, which has anything and everything in it. And you drop into it. So when anybody wants to innovate, say, for example, maybe Steve Jobs or the guys who have invented stuff like, the light bulb and Thomas Edison and all these fellows, they are the ones who have tapped into their collective unconscious. And from there, they have been able to bring whatever those ideas into their subconscious and then into their conscious mind and then into the real world. So it's not very difficult to understand. So if you see the collective unconscious, it is everything that can ever be. And from there, we are bringing stuff, like layer by layer, we're bringing it out into the open. Then Urja says, okay, so powerful to know this. Neuroscience also confirms this. Absolutely. And what exactly is meditation defined as? Okay, so meditation has lots of definitions, but personally, what I feel, for me, meditation is slowing down, just closing my eyes and becoming present to my body. As a woman, the work that I do as an embodied teacher, for me, meditation is connecting to my body. And that is, I can connect to my breath, or at times when I do a womb meditation, we connect to the womb space. Okay, there are many women here who are, who have been part of the womb circles, or just, sitting and maybe chanting, picking up a prayer, or picking up maybe even an affirmation. I am safe. Just chanting, I am safe, I am safe, I'm safe. Now, how does this work? What does it do? When you are chanting a particular prayer, like in every religion and faith, there are chanting beads. We have seen it. You know, Roman Catholics have the rosary, the Muslims have got their chanting beads, the Hindus have their 108 malas, 108 bead malas, and so much more we have. Because when you're chanting and you're doing Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, the conscious mind shuts down. And the conscious mind says, oh my God, again, after Hare Rama, there's going to be Hare Krishna. After Hare Krishna, there's going to be Hare Rama. There's nothing new coming. Okay, let me go to sleep. And the conscious mind shuts down. As soon as it shuts down, the critical filter, or that door to the subconscious, opens up. And after you have finished chanting, if you have gone to a good teacher, the teacher will always tell you that once you finish chanting or you finish your vocal toning practice, you keep a moment of silence. And it is in this silence that all that needs to be brought to you as an insight will come up for you. So that is meditation. First, part one of meditation is relaxing yourself so much that your conscious mind kind of just settles down. And then the doors to the unconscious or the subconscious open up for you, for them to bring insights to you. I hope this answers your question. Okay, let me look at the other questions. Is there any way to overcome the collective unconscious inherited from our ancestors? Of course. So, you know, our ancestors, I'm sure they've done all kinds of good stuff, but they've also done all kinds of crazy stuff as well. And we have so many new modalities now which talk about ancestral healing, family constellation. We have Sherry, my cousin here. She is a family constellation expert. We have so many different modalities. Even when I do the womb healings, we heal the maternal lineage. We heal 7 generations of women. So, you know, I would get clients who would come with some issues related to their uterus. You know, there would be kind of fibroids and all of that. And if I looked at their history, there was nothing really happening with their mother or their grandmother. And then when we would do, you know, deeper sound bowl healing and womb healing, some old memory of something in the lineage would come up, and also the unconscious state of the women in the country that we live in. Like this particular, I'll give you an example of one of the clients, you know, and she was very loved by her parents, only daughter, and she came for a healing. She had painful periods. And when we did the session, she came up with this memory of feeling deeply abandoned. So I said, does this have to do anything with you in real life? She's saying, no, I was deeply loved by my parents. They welcomed me. So what she was tapping into was the collective, you know, kind of unconscious energy of the abandoned girl child in our country. In our country, the girl child is abandoned as soon as she is born. You know, that is a kind of underlying, story happening there. And she wasn't aware of it. So as soon as she became aware of it, we then worked with it that, no, I'm lovable. I'm accepted by all. I'm loved by my parents. And then when the unconscious brings this as a message to you, you then create an action. Okay. And then one of the actions that she came up with was, you know, she would visit orphanages, and wherever there were baby girls, she would go and hug them and say, you know, you're welcome in this world. I love you. So it was a way of kind of priming and changing that thought, which was in her mind, that she's not loved and she's not lovable or not welcomed in the world. Yes, so family constellation, ancestral healing, there are many teachers who are doing it. So you can look up. Yes, Dionysia says, me has a question, let me know. Yes, no, Dee, please ask the question. You can unmute yourself and ask, darling.
Thank you. So Eva, when you were talking about the subconscious mind, you said that it can do 1 trillion things at one time.
Correct.
Okay, but your conscious mind is also able to do that.
Conscious mind not do trillion things, Dee. It will break down.
So that is my thing. See, I've realized that I have ADHD, and as a normal person, my brain can do 1 trillion things. and I'll be sitting in a meeting and I'll be designing a program, and it's all, it's something I can get out of something and say that, okay, I have these thoughts, blah, 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 blah. So I was trying to correlate. Is there that sort of link where, and now people maybe recognize that, neurodivergence and ADHD people, it's a superpower where they're able to tap into both of these. So is it possible for us to do that while
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm going to show you that slide later again.
Okay, maybe I missed it. Yeah.
In the brain waves, we have what is known as gamma waves. Now, gamma waves is when the frequency is very high in the brain. That is 30 hertz. That means the conscious mind is thinking fast, lots of thoughts, lots of stuff happening, but not trillion as much as the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
When it is that level of the subconscious mind is when the energy is so high in the brain that the circuits snap, and there is, how you have a fuse going off?
Yeah.
It is like that. So seizures, when people have epileptic fits or seizures, it is coming from this space. And that is the reason why we tell people to slow down. So even with ADHD, it is about how much you can control those 100,000 thoughts. A lot of people, take a lot of pleasure in saying, I'm a multitasker. I can do this, I can do that. And many of us women are that. We do it also. There is a limit. At some point, because the conscious mind can do only so much. And it is for each individual to know what is their own limit, because it is unique.
Correct.
That is the awareness. Yes, thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, Bhagyashree got something. What did she get? Bhagyashree, you wanted to ask something? That's Bhagyashree. Okay, she's gone, I think. Oh, okay. Urja says, I also have ADHD, and that is beautifully explained. Thank you. I think I'm also borderline ADHD. I keep telling everyone, but then yes, that is what it is. And we have a lot of anxiety, and we have all those panic attacks happening. And it all
So now, sorry to cut you off, Eva. So now we're not like branded or called ADHD. We're called neurodivergent. Okay.
What's it called? Neurodivergent.
Neurodivergent. So the neurodivergent people, congratulations, you have superpowers.
Thank you. You'll see us flying outside your windows on our toothpicks.
Why not?
Okay, ladies, we are already at 11. Do you want to do the story? Yeah, shall we do the story? It's a small story. And
yes, please.
Many of you know the story. Okay, so I'll do the story. All right. So this is the story of that little elephant whose name is Apu. And I'm sure you've heard it. Many of you have heard it, but I'm going to say it once again. So this little Apu was, what he was doing is he used to live in the forest with his parents, Mama elephant, Papa elephant, and all his brothers and sisters. And what happened then was one day while they were in the forest, Apu notices a beautiful little butterfly and he says, oh my God, what is this pretty little creature? I have to know this butterfly. And he starts following the butterfly. The butterfly goes here, he goes there, the butterfly goes there, he goes with the butterfly. And while this is happening, all of a sudden he realizes that the butterfly has suddenly disappeared. And when he notices that she's disappeared, he realizes that he is now deep in the forest and he's very far away from his herd. And it's getting dark. He's worried. He starts calling out to Mama elephant and Papa elephant and screaming and shouting, and where are they? Not available. And then at that same time, while he was yelling and calling out to his Mama and Dada elephant, there was a forest officer's jeep that was passing by, and or his vehicle, and he hears the cries of Apu, the baby elephant, and he quickly tells his companion that, oh my God, I think there is a baby elephant in trouble because I recognize the sound. And he quickly goes and tries to rescue this baby elephant. And Apu is not knowing, what is this? Who are these people? Why are they trying to hold me? And they somehow manage to catch him and tie him and put him in the vehicle. and the forest officer takes Apu to the village elephant trainer's house. Now, as soon as he reaches the elephant trainer's house, the elephant trainer ties him to a huge tree in his veranda with a very, very, thick and very big, heavy chains. Apu is so tired from all that ordeal, but he doesn't like to be chained. He has never been chained. He's a free animal. He pulls and pulls himself. And when he pulls himself, he wants to break free from that tree. He's unable to do so. The chains are not breaking. The tree is not moving. And he's getting cuts on his leg and he's just getting hurt. And like this, he realizes that he's never going to be able to break those chains. And he just kind of gives up. And the years go by. He's now living there in that village trainer's house. He was earlier maybe 200 kilos, but now he's become a good 1,000 kg elephant, big elephant and majestic. And he goes for walks sometimes in the village, and he's taken to the village temple by his trainer. And you notice that when Apu is tied now in the veranda of the elephant trainer's house, he's just tied to a bamboo, and they're not very heavy, thick chains, but it's just a thick rope that is tying him to that bamboo. So now the question is, can Apu free himself? The adult Apu, can he free himself? Can he?
Yes.
Yes, he can. Yes. So Cheryl says, yes, he can. Right? He's got lots of energy. He's powerful. He's 1,000 kilos. But does he do it? Does he do it?
No.
No, he doesn't. Now, why doesn't he do it? What is happening? What's going on in his mind?
Conditioning.
Yes, what he says, he's conditioned. What is he conditioned about?
That he cannot go away. That the rope is binding him to the thing, and he feels that he cannot break it, even though he is much stronger than that.
Yes, because when he was a child, or when he was way younger, he was tied with very big chains. And it is that memory which is still holding true for him, even though today in the physical reality, he has grown bigger than that. Okay. Now some food for thought. Listening to this story. One, I want you to take some time, maybe today, whenever you have the time, write down what are the chains that are still holding me back. Okay. Bring the image of Apu, this big, well-grown elephant tied to a bamboo with a little rope. Ask yourself, what are these chains that are still holding me back? The chains can be certain thoughts, certain beliefs, certain patterns, whatever's coming up for you in your conscious mind. And now that you have asked this question, it will also come to you in your dream time. Okay, it will show up in your surrounding. So become aware that what is holding you back? What was holding Apu back? So what is holding you back? Okay, and we will also I want you to also do another exercise. 1 second. Once you have done that, I want you to do this, we have to act out breaking free. If you want, we can do it right now. Okay, so maybe you can, wherever you are sitting, or if you are standing, what you can do is, imagine you are tied up, and you have these shackles or whatever, some ropes that are tying your feet, and just become present to your body. Okay, and you can bend your knees a little so that your body feels light, and then tell yourself, I'm breaking free, and pull your feet out, and as if you're breaking the shackles, breaking it with your body, breaking it with your hands, break it. Now, when you do this as a physical exercise with the emotions, this is a deep instruction that is going to the subconscious mind, telling the mind that I am now ready to break free from all these shackles that are holding me still. You may not break, if there are 100, you may not break 100, but at least you'll break 1 or 2. And it is a beginning, okay? So you can act out that. And one of the other things that we can do is listening to us and listening to a big group. Apu has decided that he is going to break free. He's like, no more am I going to be in shackles. So take some time and ask yourself, if Apu gets freedom or finds freedom and he breaks free, what is going to happen to him? What is his next story going to be? And write your own version, okay? It can be anything, anything. Be as creative as you can be. You can make the story about Apu. You can make the story about you as well, okay? So this is the homework, growth work for this week. And we are on the group. You can share on the group, yeah? So that'll be good. Let me just stop the recording. Yes, so thank you.